My name's Sarah, and I'm about to turn 20. Right now, I'm knee-deep in finals week at college, where I'm studying finance. It's a tough major, but I've always had a knack for numbers. As I sit here in my dorm room, surrounded by textbooks and empty coffee cups, I can't help but think about my upcoming birthday. My family's planning to celebrate it once I finish my exams. Family celebrations, they always leave a bitter taste in my mouth. Growing up, I always felt like the black sheep. My older sister, Emma, is 25 now. She's always been the golden child, the one my parents doted on. Me? I was just there. An afterthought. I remember this one time when I was 8. It was Emma's 13th birthday, and my parents threw her this massive party. There was a bouncy castle, a magician, and a cake bigger than me. I was so excited, thinking my birthday would be just as grand. When my birthday rolled around a few months later, all I got was a small cake from the grocery store and a pair of socks. I tried not to cry, but I couldn't help it. My mom just patted my head and said, "Don't be dramatic, Sarah. It's just a birthday." That's when I first realized I was different. Less important, somehow. As I grew older, the feeling only intensified. Emma got the newest phone every year, while I inherited her old ones. She got designer clothes, I got hand-me-downs. When she graduated high school, my parents bought her a car. When I graduated, they gave me a gift card to the local bookstore. My grandmother, though? She's different. She's always treated me like I was special. When I told her I wanted to study finance, she was thrilled. "You've got a good head on your shoulders, Sarah," she said. "You'll go far." And now, she's insisted on arranging my birthday celebration. She even gave my parents several $1,000s to make it happen. I was shocked when I heard about it. My parents usually brush off my birthdays, but they didn't argue with Grandma. They just took the money and told me to focus on my exams. I overheard Emma throwing a fit about it. "Why does she get a big party?" she whined. "I could use that money for a trip I've been wanting to take." Grandma shut her down quick. "Hush now, Emma. Everyone spoils you as it is. Didn't I just give you 10 grand for rent? And you're still living at home." Emma went quiet after that. I couldn't help but feel a little smug. So here I am, cramming for my last exam. It's tomorrow, and then I'm free. Free to celebrate my birthday, free to feel special for once. The next day, I walked out of my last exam, feeling like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My classmates were chattering excitedly about summer plans, but all I could think about was my upcoming birthday celebration. As I made my way back to my dorm, my phone buzzed with messages. My college friends were wishing me an early happy birthday, knowing I'd be heading home soon. It felt good to be remembered, even if it was just by people I'd known for a couple of years. "Happy almost birthday, Sarah," my roommate, Jess, called out as I entered our shared space. "You ready for the big family shindig?" I nodded, trying to muster up some enthusiasm. "Yeah, should be interesting." Jess raised an eyebrow. "You don't sound too excited. Everything okay?" I sighed, flopping onto my bed. "It's just, my family. They're not exactly the warm and fuzzy type, you know? Especially when it comes to me. But your grandma organized this whole thing, right? That's gotta count for something," Jess pointed out. "True," I admitted. "Grandma's always been different. She actually seems to like me." As I packed my backpack for the trip home, I couldn't shake off a nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach. It was a mix of hope and dread, hope that for once, my birthday would be special, and dread that somehow, it would all go wrong. The bus ride home felt longer than usual. My mind kept wandering to what awaited me. Would the house be decorated? Would there be a cake? Would my parents actually look happy to see me? As I walked up the driveway, I took a deep breath. The house looked normal. No balloons, no streamers, nothing to indicate a celebration was about to happen. But maybe they were keeping it all inside, I thought, trying to stay positive. I opened the front door, calling out, "Mom? Dad? I'm home." The house was quiet. Too quiet for a place that was supposed to be prepping for a party. I frowned, dropping my backpack by the door and making my way to the living room. My parents were there, sitting on the couch, looking oddly uncomfortable. There was no sign of any party preparations. Hi, I said, confusion creeping into my voice. "Where's all the, birthday stuff?" My mom and dad exchanged a glance that made my heart sink. "About that, Sarah," my dad started, his voice oddly detached. "We decided not to organize your birthday party." I blinked, sure I had misheard. "What? But Grandma gave you money for it." We gave the money to Emma for her trip," my mom cut in. "She and her boyfriend flew to Hawaii a couple of days ago." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I felt my eyes start to sting with tears. You what?" "But it was for my birthday." "Grandma gave it to you for my birthday." My dad shrugged, not meeting my eyes. "Emma needed a vacation. You understand, don't you?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Understand?" "No, I don't understand. It was supposed to be my birthday party. I invited people. What am I supposed to tell them?" "We've already taken care of that," my mom said, her tone dismissive. "We called everyone and told them you were having problems with college and that the party was cancelled." I stood there, shock giving way to anger. "You lied to them? About me? How could you do this?" My dad's face hardened. "That's enough, Sarah. You need to learn to obey us and stop being so selfish." "Selfish?" I almost screamed the word. "How am I being selfish? It was my birthday, my party." Just then, the front door opened. I turned, hoping it was Emma, back early and feeling guilty. Instead, I saw my grandmother step inside, her eyes narrowing as she took in the scene. "What's going on here?" she asked, her voice sharp. "Where's the party?" I looked at my parents, waiting to see how they'd explain this away. They hesitated, fumbling for words. In that moment, something in me snapped. "There is no party, Grandma," I said, my voice shaking. "They gave the money to Emma for a trip to Hawaii instead." The look on my grandmother's face was one I'd never seen before. It was a mix of fury and disappointment, all directed at my parents. "Is this true?" she demanded. My parents couldn't meet her gaze. Their silence was all the confirmation she needed. Grandma turned to me, her expression softening. "Sarah, dear, go pack your things. You're coming with me." I didn't need to be told twice. As I rushed to throw some clothes into my backpack, I could hear my grandmother's voice, low and angry, talking to my parents. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear. When I came back downstairs, Grandma was waiting by the door. Without a word to my parents, we left the house and got into her car. As we drove away, I finally let the tears fall. 20 years of feeling unloved and unwanted came pouring out. Grandma reached over and patted my hand. "Don't you worry, dear," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "We'll sort this out. You deserve better than this, and it's high time someone showed you that." Grandma drove us to her house, a beautiful 2-story home on the outskirts of town. As we pulled into the driveway, she turned to me with a determined look in her eyes. "This might not be the party you were expecting, Sarah, but we're going to celebrate your birthday properly." Once inside, Grandma immediately got on her phone. I watched in amazement as she ordered what sounded like enough food to feed an army, all for rush delivery. "I hope you're hungry," she said with a wink as she hung up. "We've got quite a feast coming our way." As we waited for the food to arrive, Grandma bustled around the kitchen, pulling out her best china and silverware. I offered to help, but she shooed me away. "It's your birthday, dear. You just relax." So I sat at the kitchen table, watching her work. After a few minutes of silence, I couldn't hold back anymore. "Grandma," I started, my voice small. Why don't they love me?" She paused in her preparations, turning to face me with a sad look in her eyes. For a moment, she seemed to be wrestling with something internally. Then she sighed and sat down across from me. "Oh, Sarah," she said, reaching out to take my hand. "I suppose it's time you knew the truth." My heart started racing. The truth about what? Grandma took a deep breath. "Your parents, they didn't want you to be born." The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt the air leave my lungs as if I'd been punched. "What?" "They thought Emma was enough," Grandma continued, her voice gentle but firm. "But I convinced them to have you. Your mother, she had a difficult pregnancy, and the birth was complicated. She almost died." I felt tears welling up in my eyes again. So it's my fault?" "No," Grandma said forcefully. "No, Sarah, it's not your fault at all. These things happen sometimes. But your mother, she tried to avoid you after that. And your father and Emma followed her lead." I sat there, stunned. All these years, I'd known something was off, but I'd never imagined this. Just then, the doorbell rang. Our food had arrived. As Grandma went to get it, I sat there, trying to process everything I'd just learned. The next few hours passed in a blur. Grandma and I ate our way through a ridiculous amount of food. She regaled me with stories from her youth, making me laugh, despite the heaviness in my heart. As the night wore on, I found myself relaxing, truly enjoying my birthday for the first time in years. As we were finishing up the last of the cake, Grandma's phone rang. She glanced at it, then back at me with a mischievous glint in her eye. "It's your sister," she said. "Shall we see what she has to say?" I nodded, curiosity getting the better of me. Grandma put the phone on speaker. "Hello?" Emma's voice came through, sounding panicked. "Grandma? Why is my card blocked? What's going on?" Grandma's voice was cool when she replied. "Hello, Emma. I see you've discovered there are consequences for your actions." "What? What actions? What are you talking about?" Emma's voice was rising in pitch. "Your behavior, and that of your parents, has been absolutely shameful," Grandma said firmly. "Taking money meant for your sister's birthday for your own selfish desires? I'm deeply disappointed in you." There was a pause, then Emma's voice came back, angry now. "Oh, come on. Mom and Dad did the right thing giving me that money. Sarah doesn't need some big party. You're just a crazy old woman who—" "That's quite enough," Grandma cut her off, her voice like steel. "I've heard all I need to hear." And with that, she hung up. I stared at her, wide-eyed. "Grandma, did you really block her card?" She nodded, a satisfied smile on her face. "I did. And your parents' account too. It's time they learned to stand on their own 2 feet." As if on cue, the phone started ringing again. This time, it was my parents. Grandma ignored it, turning back to me. "Now then," she said, as if we hadn't just dropped a bombshell on my family's finances. "How about we plan out the rest of your birthday week?" The days I spent with Grandma were like a dream, a stark contrast to the nightmare that had been my birthday. For once, I felt truly loved and appreciated. We went shopping, visited museums, and just enjoyed each other's company. But all good things must come to an end, and soon it was time for me to return to my dorm and focus on my summer classes. As I unpacked my bags in my small dorm room, my phone buzzed. I glanced at it, seeing a flood of notifications, missed calls, and messages from my parents and Emma. With a sigh, I sat on my bed and started scrolling through them. The first one was from my mom. "Sarah, you need to talk to your grandmother right now. This is unacceptable." Then my dad. "We're your parents. You owe us your loyalty. Make her unblock our accounts." Emma's messages were even worse. "You little brat. Is this what you wanted? To ruin everything for us? We're stuck in Hawaii because of you. Fix this now." I felt my hands shaking as I read through them all. The audacity they had to demand my help after what they'd done was mind-boggling. I took a deep breath and typed out a response. This is between you and Grandma. I won't get involved. Please don't contact me about this again. I hit send and then blocked their numbers, but the peace didn't last long. They started calling from different numbers, leaving voicemails filled with demands and insults. During one particularly nasty call that I mistakenly answered, my mother's words cut deep. "You ungrateful little trash," she spat. "I should have never given birth to you. I should have had an abortion instead." That was the last straw. I ended the call and blocked every number they tried to reach me from. Tears streamed down my face as I curled up on my bed, my mother's words echoing in my head. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into my studies, trying to drown out the pain with textbooks and assignments. Occasionally, I'd call Grandma, seeking comfort in her calm, competent voice. "How are you holding up, dear?" she'd ask, her tone always warm and concerned. "I'm okay, Grandma," I'd reply, trying to sound stronger than I felt. "Just focusing on my classes." "That's my girl," she'd say, pride evident in her voice. "Remember, you're stronger than you know. Don't let them get to you." Her words were a balm to my wounded spirit. While my parents and sister had shown their true colors, Grandma had become my rock, my safe harbor in this storm. It was a crisp autumn day, about 2 months after the birthday fiasco. I was walking across campus, my mind preoccupied with an upcoming finance exam, when I heard someone call my name. "Sarah." I turned and froze. There, jogging towards me with a $1,000,000 smile, was Jake, my sister Emma's boyfriend. The same Jake who was with her in Hawaii. He was as handsome as ever, and I couldn't help but notice the envious glances from other girls as he approached. Before I could react, he swept me into a hug. I stood there, stiff and confused, as he pulled away, still grinning. "Jake, what are you doing here?" I managed to ask, acutely aware of the stares we were attracting. "I was hoping to run into you," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "Can we talk? There's a cafe just off campus." Every instinct told me to say no, but curiosity got the better of me. "Okay, but I can't stay long." As we settled into a quiet corner of the cafe, Jake leaned forward, his expression suddenly serious. "Sarah, I need to tell you something important." I braced myself, expecting news about my family. What he said next, however, caught me completely off guard. "I want to date you," he blurted out, reaching across the table to take my hand. "I'm going to leave Emma. For you." I stared at him, mouth agape. "What? Jake, what are you talking about? You're with my sister." He shook his head, his eyes never leaving mine. "I've been in love with you for a long time, Sarah. I was only dating Emma to be close to you. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true." As he spoke, my mind raced. This didn't make any sense. Jake had never shown any interest in me before. In fact, he'd always seemed to barely notice my existence when he was around Emma. Something fishy was definitely going on here. I decided to play along, to see where this would lead. Forcing a shy smile, I said, "Wow, Jake. That's really sweet. I had no idea you felt that way." His face lit up, clearly encouraged by my response. "Really? So, what do you think? Would you give us a chance?" I pretended to consider it, then said, "This is a lot to take in. Can I have some time to think about it? Maybe we could meet again in a week." "Of course," Jake agreed eagerly. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait for you, Sarah." After he left, I remained at the cafe, sipping my coffee and turning the bizarre encounter over in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that this sudden declaration of love was connected to my grandmother's decision to cut off my family financially. But how? And what did Jake hope to gain? I had barely stepped out of the cafe, my head still spinning from Jake's bizarre declaration, when my phone rang. My sister's name flashed on the screen. With a deep sigh, I answered. "You backstabbing little trash." Emma's voice screeched through the speaker. How could you do this to me? I pulled the phone away from my ear, wincing at her volume. Emma, what the hell are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me, you home-wrecking slut. My patience snapped. Shut up right now and explain what's going on, or I'm hanging up. There was a moment of stunned silence before Emma spoke again, her voice trembling with rage. Jake just dumped me. He said he's going to date you instead. How could you? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. What? Emma, I swear I had no idea. Oh, don't act all innocent, she spat. I bet you're thrilled about this, aren't you? Well, guess what? He's only after you for Grandma's money. My mind reeled. Grandma's money? What are you talking about? Emma let out a bitter laugh. Oh, you don't know? Well, let me fill you in, little sister. Grandma's cutting Mom, Dad, and me out of her will. She's leaving everything to you. I leaned against a nearby wall, feeling dizzy. But, why would she do that? Because she found out about Mom and Dad's plan, Emma said, her voice dripping with resentment. They filed to have her declared mentally incompetent so they could take control of her assets. But the old bat caught wind of it somehow. I felt sick. They did what? You heard me, Emma sneered. And now we're all cut off. Except for you, of course. The perfect little heiress. The pieces started falling into place. So that's why Jake suddenly wants to date me? Because of Grandma's money? Bingo, Emma said. Give the girl a prize. God, that vile old woman. I hope she... I cut her off, my voice cold. Don't you dare finish that sentence, Emma. I don't know who's worse in this situation, you and our parents for trying to steal from Grandma, or Jake for being a gold-digging snake. Emma gasped. How dare you? No, how dare you? I shot back. All of you. You're all despicable. I don't want to talk to you anymore, Emma. Don't call me again. I hung up, my hand shaking. Tears pricked at my eyes, a mix of anger and hurt threatening to overwhelm me. How could my family do this? How could they be so cruel, so greedy? With shaking hands, I dialed Grandma's number. She answered promptly, her voice warm and comforting. Sarah, dear. Is everything all right? I took a deep breath. Grandma, I just found out about, well, everything. The inheritance, Mom and Dad trying to declare you incompetent. Is it true? There was a brief pause, then Grandma chuckled. Oh, my dear. I was wondering when you'd hear about all that drama. Yes, it's true. She proceeded to recount the tale, her voice filled with a mix of amusement and disappointment. You should have seen their faces when the commission showed up at my door. I invited them in for tea, answered all their questions, and even did a few Sudoku puzzles to prove my mental acuity. I couldn't help but smile, picturing the scene. So what happened? Well, Grandma continued. They left quite satisfied that I was of sound mind. Your parents' ridiculous claim was rejected, of course. After that, I had no choice but to protect my assets, and you, from their greed. I've left them the house, but the rest, well, that's all going to you, my dear. I felt overwhelmed. Grandma, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Sarah. Just promise me you'll use it wisely. I want you to take over the company one day, to build on what I've created. I promise, Grandma. I won't let you down. After that conversation, I threw myself into my studies with renewed vigor. My family, if I could even call them that anymore, became strangers to me. I blocked their numbers, ignored their attempts to reach out. They had shown their true colors, and I wanted nothing to do with them. A week after my conversation with Jake, true to his word, he showed up again. His confident smile faltered when he saw the cold look in my eyes. Sarah, he began, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. Save it, Jake, I spat. I know all about your little scheme. You and my sister deserve each other, you're both vile and mercenary. His facade crumbled instantly. "You're making a big mistake," he sneered. "You're a fool to refuse a guy like me." I couldn't help but laugh. "A guy like you? You mean a gold digger with no moral compass?" "No, thanks. I think I'll pass." As he stormed off, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. I was free from the manipulation, the lies, the constant feeling of inadequacy that had plagued me for so long. Over the next few months, Grandma took me under her wing, teaching me the ins and outs of running a successful company. We spent weekends poring over financial reports, discussing business strategies, and planning for the future. "You have a good head for business, Sarah," she'd often say, beaming with pride. "You're going to do great things." For the first time in my life, I felt truly valued, truly loved. The pain of losing my parents and sister still lingered, but it was overshadowed by the joy of finding my place in the world.